Title: I attended the wedding of my son, whom I raised as a single father, but my name tag read, fake, undereducated dad. The bride's overeducated family erupted in laughter, but when I tried to leave, my son said, "Dad, let's go home." The next day, something incredible happened at his company. Chapter 1. The name tag. I was standing at the back of the lavish ballroom, straightening my ill-fitting suit. It was my son's wedding day, a day I'd dreamed of for 2 decades since his mother left me to raise him alone. I worked 2 jobs, fixing pipes by day and delivering groceries by night. Sometimes we were cold in the winter, but I never let him go hungry. I never missed a PTA meeting. And now here we were, hundreds of guests, chandeliers twinkling, champagne flowing, and a 6-tiered cake that probably cost more than my monthly paycheck. I wasn't comfortable in that world, but I was proud until I saw the plaque on the family table. Just below the gold label that said "Father of the Groom" was my name, followed by a phrase that someone had added in mock cursive with a ballpoint pen: golden, fake, and poorly educated dad. I blinked, sure it was a joke, but then laughter came from the bride's side. Her dad, a retired college dean, snorted with a cocky smile. Her mom covered her mouth, unable to contain a giggle. One cousin whispered something to another, and they both looked at me and laughed even louder. I felt heat rise up my neck. I looked for my son Jason. He was standing by the dance floor, smiling as the photographer took pictures with his new in-laws. I hadn't seen him. I couldn't have seen him. I silently turned my license plate and tried to sit up, but the laughter wouldn't stop. Then I heard, "Well, what did you expect? He fixes pipes. He probably didn't even finish high school." My stomach twisted. I stood up, ready to leave, but just as I turned around, a firm hand grabbed mine. It was Hassan. He looked at me, serious, quiet, but with something burning in his eyes. "Dad," he said, "let's go home." I hesitated. "Hassan, it's your wedding. I told you, let's go home." The music stopped. The DJ froze. The guests turned around. He looked at his bride, at his family, and said clearly, "You just made the worst mistake of your lives." He didn't explain anything, he didn't yell. He just walked out with me into the cold night. And the next day, everything changed. Chapter 2. The man behind the curtain. The drive home was silent, the only sound being the soft hum of the city at night. My son drove with his eyes fixed on the road and his jaw clenched. He didn't say a word from the moment we left the wedding until we arrived at the apartment, the same one I raised him in and still lived in, although he could live much better now. When I reached for the door to open it, he finally spoke. "You know, Dad?" I saw it. I froze. "I saw the license plate before you did. I was watching from the sidelines, waiting to see what you would do." I turned around, confused. "So why didn't you stop them? Why didn't you say something sooner?" He looked at me, eyes filled with something I hadn't seen in years, pain, because he wanted to know if they would do it, if they would really humiliate you. To the man who raised me on the most important day of my life. And they did. Hassan took out his phone, tapped something, and handed it to me. It was a secretly recorded video. The girlfriend's dad laughing as he passed the pen to one of the cousins. Her mom joking about poor people walking among us. And worst of all, the same bride nodding. "My real dad is the man I'm going to marry," she had joked. "That plumber guy is just a formality." My heart sank, but Hassan was calm, cold as ice. "Dad, I didn't tell you before, but I never signed the prenup." I blinked. "You didn't sign it?" He shook his head. "They begged me to." His dad even offered to invest in my startup and I'd sign it, but by then he'd quietly built something with a friend, a tech security company. That's why I kept living simply. I didn't want to draw attention to myself. He paused, then continued. "Last year, they acquired us on a clean slate. I made more money than I ever imagined. Enough to buy and bury that family's entire company if I wanted to. Now I was the one sitting at the table." Hassan narrowed his eyes. They thought they were marrying a trophy, a fool they could mold, but they didn't realize I had my own game, and now it's jackmate. I stared at him, stunned. He opened his laptop and began typing furiously. "Tomorrow they'll find out who they really tried to humiliate, and when it's over the bride's family will wish they hadn't." Mocked by the man who raised me. Chapter 3. The shareholders' surprise. The next morning, Hassan was already dressed in a crisp navy suit. When I walked into the kitchen, coffee was brewing silently behind him, untouched. Dad, today is the day they're going to know who you really are to me. Not a fake dad, but the man who made me who I am. He passed me a folder. Company reports, financial statements, and ownership documents. The girlfriend's family business, Besson Hospitality Group, a chain of luxury hotels and restaurants, was silently losing money, and Hassan had been buying shares from his silent partners for the past year through shell companies, silently, mercilessly. I looked at him. You already own part of his company. Hassan smirked. Try 48%, and starting at 9 a.m. today, I'll control the majority. 9:15 a.m. Best Hospitality Headquarters. Hassan walked into the glass tower with me by his side. The staff paused their calls with their mouths half open, the same faces from the wedding, now wide-eyed and nervous. The boardroom was packed. Her dad, Gregory Bastorn, was at the head of the table, still arrogant, still oblivious. What does this mean? He snarled as Hassan took a seat. Hassan calmly placed a thick file on the table and addressed the board. As of today, I control 51% of Bastorn Hospitality Group. Here's the proof. Here's the legal documentation. You can check with your lawyers. A heavy silence. Then murmurs. Gregory took the papers with trembling hands. His eyes widened in realization. You little parasite. Jason was unfazed. No, Gregory, I am the product of the man you all mocked. The plumber you laughed at. The fake dad who worked 14-hour days so I could go to school, who taught me honor, discipline, and patience. The room fell dead silent. Hassan turned to the others. I want to be clear, I'm not dissolving the company yet, but effective immediately. Gregory, your daughter, your wife, and all members of your family are terminated. You will receive your severance packages by mail. Gasps were heard. Gregory lunged forward, his veins bulging. They can't do this. This is my company. Hassan's voice didn't rise a pitch. It was. It belongs to the man now. Who was spat through me. Then he turned, nodded to me, and we walked off together, leaving the Bests dumbfounded, their legacy in ashes. That night, Hassan and I sat on the balcony as a peaceful sunset bathed the sky in orange and purple. You didn't have to do that for me, I said softly. He smiled. I didn't do it for you, Dad. I did it for you. Everything I am, everything I've built, is because you believed in me when no one else did. My eyes watered. Happy belated birthday, he added. Next year we'll celebrate properly. Chapter 4. One last knock on the door. 2 weeks passed. News of the hostile takeover of Bastorn Hospitality spread like wildfire through local media and business circles. Headlines ranged from the elite son-in-law's wedding shakes up the family to the plumber's son, to tycoon Jason, once the object of ridicule, now a guest at investment forums and leadership panels. As for the bride, Emily disappeared from social media. Her life, once filled with champagne and vacation selfies, fell silent. Rumors said that she and her parents now were facing lawsuits for embezzlement and shady dealings at the company. And one rainy night there was a knock on Hassan's door. Emily stood there, soaked from the storm, her makeup smeared, holding a wet designer handbag. Hassan, her voice cracked. I made a mistake. I was under pressure. My parents always made me feel like I wasn't enough, that your dad was beneath us. But now I realize. Jason interrupted her. Calm and collected. Now you realize that the man you insulted owns the roof you're standing under. She looked past him and saw me sitting on the couch behind her. Mr. Carter, I'm sorry, I was a fool. I raised my hand. Stop it. You're not sorry for what you did. You're sorry for how it all turned out. She froze. Hassan pulled something from his pocket. A small envelope. Your parents signed this when they were desperate to get rid of the remaining shares. It's a clause that prevents any member of your family from working or holding shares in any Khalees associated with Bestborn. He handed it over. That includes you. Tears welled up in her eyes. Jason, please, we can't talk. He looked at her one last time. You had your chance to speak. You chose mockery instead of love. You chose public humiliation instead of respect. Now I choose silence instead of reconciliation. And he closed the door gently but definitively. Epilogue Legacy. A year later, Hassan launched a scholarship program for students from working-class families, naming it, in my honor, the Carter Foundation. At the ceremony, when the mayor shook his hand and asked, "What inspired you?" Hassan pointed to me in the front row. That man, the one laughed at for fixing bathrooms, the one who taught me that true value isn't in bank accounts or degrees, but in integrity, resilience, and heart. The applause was deafening, and for the first time in my life, I felt like the richest man in the room. Was this revenge perfectly just? Tell us what you would have done in the comments. Like the story, share it with someone who needs this energy, and subscribe to Lauren's story for more tales. Shocking stories of betrayal and justice. Because here every lie has its reckoning, and every betrayal finds its shadow. Stay alert, stay strong, and stay vigilant.